Hi there. Thank you for taking the time to look at this short presentation of Contract Controller. My name is Richard, and I'll be taking you through the key areas of the system. Now, I'm sure at the moment you don't have all day, so this really is just a brief taster of what Contract Controller can do. My background is from our industry, and I'm a time-served joiner cabinet maker, and then I went on to learn estimating and became a senior shop fitting estimator before getting involved with Contract Controller. So Contract Controller is a one-stop system specifically for shop fitting and similar companies. With my background firmly in shop fitting and manufacturing, and also a member of the Institute of Carpenters, with our company being associate members of the NAS, we know what's required and how daunting it can be to implement a new system into a company that has to carry on working at full tilt whilst getting to grips with the new system. So we know the industry. We're not just a software company with a solution. The key thing to note is that Contract Controller can be implemented gradually at your pace. Get one department working on the system first, and then you can move to other areas once previous areas familiar with the system, and we will be there to help you and guide you through this process. 4 areas of Contract Controller are inquiries, quotations, contracts, material libraries, purchase orders, timesheets, and sales invoices. And everything is interlinked and revolves around a contract. Quotations are built from bill items that are in turn built from a material and labour library, and may also contain other pre-priced items. A bill item may contain another bill item, and there's no restriction as to how many layers you may go. If a material is updated in the library, any subsequent items or revised items that use that material will have the cost automatically updated. Obviously, existing quotations will not be amended. Another great point is that if you revise a quotation, the original is always kept, not like in an Excel spreadsheet that will be updated if you forget to click the Save As. Now, not all companies will have a sales department, but the quotation or contract has to start somewhere, and this will be in the form of an inquiry that will then hopefully become a contract. Now, living in the real world, the system may still be shortcutted to create a contract without first preparing the inquiry or quotation. But the system will still require basic information about who the client is, where the site is, and very importantly, who will be invoiced for the work. So this must be set before we can start to generate purchase orders and timesheets. But we can then, from that period, start creating VOs to track costs and work that we've done for the client that may then be invoiced. The sales support dashboard helps identifying inquiries and quotations that are yet to be converted to contracts, followed up, or if unsuccessful, classed as lost. There's also an area to remind you of companies to contact and tasks to do. From any department, an inquiry or contract may be viewed to give a global overview of the stage and status of the inquiry or contract. This will show the latest quotations submitted to the client, any variations to orders, and if they've been included or not, along with sales invoices submitted to the client. In addition to a complete job costing analysis, there's also an overview showing how the contract is currently performing. Now, estimating may be the hardest area to get on board. But remember, I was an estimator, so this area is the closest that any system will ever get to making estimating easier than using spreadsheets or, as we used to say, on the back of a fag packet. I've had many estimators who were, shall we say, a little skeptical about using the system, and after several weeks agreeing that it has made their work and life a lot easier. Forming a revised quote for the umpteenth time for a potential contract alone can save so much time and effort. Quotations are built up with bill items, and the system will then split out and collate all the different material and labour elements from all the bill items in the quotation. This will then allow different margins to be applied to the different elements to achieve the selling figure for the client. Now, if a particular bill item needs to be set at a given price to the client, this is also possible by adding the required profit margins to that specific item and not via the global markup for the whole quotation. Terms and conditions are set with the quotation, and material and labour analysis may also be generated from the quote. A bill item is generated from materials and labour from the core library. Now, if material is not in the library, it may be entered without leaving the bill item. Similarly, prices and costs may be updated of the material library without leaving the item as well. Also, in true estimating fashion, after entering all the materials and labour, the system cost seems to be less than you thought, and your estimator gut instinct says it could be costing more, but you don't want to increase the materials and labour. You can apply a cost adjustment to suit. Completed quotations may be printed out or generated as PDFs and sent to the client with your company headers, footers, and logos. So we've done all the sales and estimating, and now production must try and put all this into practice. A scary time for the estimator when you get to see how much time was actually spent on the contract. With the different dashboard options that are available, the production manager may decide to have a dashboard showing who's clocked in, what jobs they're working on, and what current contracts are going through the works. The production status of a contract will show where an item is up to in manufacture and how many hours for each operation is being used against the scheduled hours. This screen will also show if the item has been completed and accepted into a dispatch or loading area, and will also show when it's been dispatched to site and on what dispatch note. This now gives full traceability of an item and will easily compare the actual hours against those quoted. Employees scan their ID card and then the item that they're working on, and this automatically updates the status of the item as well as forming the employee's timesheet. As an employee scans at a pod station, they can also see and check that the item that they're working on. Purchase orders are easily generated, and there are 3 different types, one for suppliers, one for subcontractors, and one for plant hire. All of them will immediately go through to the job costing once issued, so contracts and accounts are aware of the ever-increasing costs. The value that was used in the quotation is also compared against that of the purchase order, so a true contract cost forecast is now possible. For example, if a quotation was for 30,000 for some work, and the purchase order was only for 25,000, the system would show that a saving of 5,000 has already been made against the contract, and this will be reflected in the contract job cost forecast. Using the stores dashboard instantly shows which items are below a minimum stock requirement, along with other shortcuts for entering goods received against purchase orders, dispatch notes, issuing materials to a contract, along with other similar functions. Now, stock items may be purchased against a non-contract stock number and held in the stores and then issued to a specific contract as required. So common items such as drawer runners, cabinet hinges, etc. won't necessarily be ordered as job specific and are quite often forgotten to be taken into account when doing the job costing. This way, you can have complete control of the stock you hold, and you'll be alerted when items fall below a minimum stock level, and it'll ensure that all costs are attributed to the correct contracts. An important area is to ensure that all additional works are charged for, and this is done using variations to orders. VOs may be included or excluded to the contract once the client agrees or disagrees. Also, valuations or applications for payments may also be generated, detailing the amount of work completed along with any additional works or materials on site. Contract Controller is not aiming to replace your existing account system, but it will take over your job costing, timesheet production, purchase invoicing, and sales invoicing. All the data may be downloaded and exported into your account system so that the monetary side of things may still be controlled by your accounting system. Contract Controller will authorize a payment to be made and will raise relevant digital or paper copy for your accounts to deal with. Only bills and invoices connected with the contracts will be on Contract Controller. General finances and bills do not need to be on the Contract Controller system. One key area of accounts is the job cost and job forecast, and this is instantly available on the accounts dashboard, showing current contracts, basically a mini WIP report listing, along with outstanding invoices due from clients and scheduled valuations or payment plans that are due for invoicing. As I mentioned back in the production area, there's no more waiting for purchase invoices to come in to check the job cost. As soon as a purchase order is issued, the system will show the committed cost. Then, when the relevant purchase invoice arrives for payment, if there's any valid difference, job costing may be amended to show this. Job costs may also be drilled down into specific bill items that are going through the workshop. This will show employee times and costs, along with specific materials purchased for that particular item and items from stock. A listing of all purchase invoices due or received may be viewed and indicated as authorized to be paid. Double-clicking on an item will allow more detail to be seen and allow part payment or adjustments to be made if required. Sales invoices to clients are easily and professionally generated and may be printed or formed as a PDF with your company logos and headers and footers. One of the biggest issues is getting folk to do accurate or even semi-accurate timesheets. How many times do we get, oh, it's Friday, must do my timesheet. Now, what was I doing on Monday? No, I'll just book it to so-and-so job. That's a big contract and it's the main one going through the shop at the moment. Well, with timesheet pods around the factory, employees can easily scan their ID and the item they're working on. They don't need to scan off when they move on to the next item. They simply scan their ID and the item code that they're going to be working on. They do need to scan off the system at the end of the day, and the system will also check this at a given time and alert any listed users on the system that they have not scanned off, and it will make a note against their timesheet that the end time for the last item scanned may not be correct. Employees can see what contracts and items they and their colleagues are working on from any of the pods around the factory. Large display screens may also be used to check who's working on what. Some companies position these actually in the workshop, others in the production manager's area. Timesheets are then verified before being posted to job cost, but they will immediately be shown in production tracking areas for reporting on scheduled hours against actual hours taken. Full reporting on timesheets and payroll reports may be generated for accounts. Along with machine maintenance, vehicle and forklift truck servicing, and vehicle MOTs, one area often omitted by so many systems is site equipment. How many batteries go missing? Where are all the circular saws at the moment? Where was that last tower used and what contract was it damaged on? When is the PAT testing due on site equipment and in-house equipment? When is that van service due? All these can easily be answered by using the equipment and maintenance and tracking area of Contract Controller. Full details of an item and its service history and the sites that it's been used on is easily located. We can also see when the item has been taken out of service, or if it's available to currently go out on a contract, or obviously if it's currently on a contract at the moment. I think it's always good to see who's involved in a company and how it all started. So I'll leave you to pause the video now and read this. But suffice to say, we've been around a long time, we know the industry, and we have a great team here to help you. We've made it to the end. Thank you so much for looking at this, and I hope you found this informative. I will have missed out some areas, and I haven't gone into as much detail as I would have liked, but there just isn't enough time in this overview. Hopefully, though, you should have got enough insight into what Contract Controller can do. The best thing to do next is to get in touch, and we can have a one-to-one or a one-to-team going through specific areas of the system that you would like to see in greater detail. Look forward to being able to talk to you in person soon. Again, thanks for watching, and bye for now.